One moment, folks. It's going to give another minute. Going to share this out, and we're going to have a little fun time, folks. Just going to share this out real quickly. Hold on one second. There's going to have to be some copyright, so give me. All right, folks. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Now, I know it's not the greatest weather-wise, but it can still be a beautiful day, folks. And today, your boy's here. If you read the title, you know what this is about. Gonna have a little nice birthday hangout here in a few minutes. We're gonna talk a little bit about sports, just and have a good time. Maybe we'll throw some other subjects in here as well, but yeah, we're just gonna have a good time, relax. You see, I got the nice background going. So you got a little bit of a different decor today. Yes, that's right, folks. That's right. We're going to have some fun. It's your boy Nicky Steez's birthday. We're going to have a little bit of a birthday bash here, folks. If you've been following me on my Nicky Steez IG, you know that I've been getting ready. I've been promoting this big release video I got, and I'm going to share it with you guys in just a minute. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to share the screen with you guys through this one. So, another minute or so. So here, because I've been promising I'm going to do a little behind the scenes-ish type look, and that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. Let's get into it. So I got a little two-part, like, mini self-created documentary that I just started. So here we go. So this is part one. Part two will be coming up in a little bit. Here's the link to it if you guys want to follow along. All right, here we go. So I'm going to share it for you guys. I've been promising that I'm going to drop this for the Steez Nation. And here we go. This is Becoming Nicky Steez, the journey behind the Steez persona, part one. I just released this today as sort of my birthday, giving you guys as a gift. So here we go. Oh, man. All right, here we go. This is going to be like a little mini documentary style thing, and I just uploaded it I set it as a premiere at 9 a.m. So that goes my first time I'm going to react. It's a crazy journey here. I went from, crazy journey, but my sports fandom that got me to the point now where I got my own channel, or is one of my old high school friends that still keep in touch with it, knows I got a YouTube channel, I got my own little ESPN now. And this right here, interview where I'm doing this, narrative, little self-interview. This is where I do the 3-point blitz during the spring, sometimes during the summer when it's not too hot out. But especially during the spring, this is where I do this outside. And now here I am talking about. We start though, but it all goes back to my early childhood. It started in my household when I was young, really around 4 or 5, really 5 years old. But that also has to do with my dad. My dad was, dad, big sports fan. My mom to some extent too. But that's really where it all started with from my parents, and it passed on to me. Remember, my dad was a season ticket holder for the Eagles, so there was a few times even started off one of the early memories for me. There was a preseason game. Just a quick heads up. So I'm going to do this, like you see, early childhood. I'm going to talk a bit about some of my memorable experience attending games, and then I switch into the transition of how I became a YouTuber in this. August 24th, 2000 was a preseason game. Okay, and shout out to Mitch who gave me the green light to use some clips from some of the live streams we've done. But back to it. That was my first time attending. Then the next year we attended another preseason game. Now, I didn't realize at the time what was going on in 2001. I just remember us leaving and asking what happened. My dad said the game got canceled. Now, at the time, I didn't understand why it was canceled, but ultimately, looking back now, it kind of makes sense, though. And that was also part of the Eagles, about Veterans Stadium that I've learned in the years since. I learned more about it on that history of the Philadelphia Eagles on one of the bonus features a few years later. That's why I shared that pic. Field advantage aspect Eagles had with the Eagles and Philly sharing the stadium, the baseball infield line was something that players from opposing teams were concerned with, and that gave the Eagles an advantage in home games at this event. But I did actually have the privilege, at least of attending Veterans Stadium. Before 2003, the Eagles' very first game at Lincoln Financial Field. It wasn't the Monday night opener against the Bucs. That was the first regular season game. It was a preseason game against the Patriots. I remember being there. You had the PA announcer, welcome to Lincoln Financial Field for the very first time, because it was technically the first game played there. So I got to see that in person. I got to see the technically the first game at Lincoln Financial Field in person, which was cool. I remember actually a couple weeks prior to that, my dad took me and a few of his friends that went for the game, the home games of the season ticket pass he had, for a tour of the stadium. Like, I remember a little mini tour with him, a few of his friends. One of them was a veteran, I think. And we went up there. It was more so seeing where the seats were and kind of a tour of where the concession stands were. Yeah, that was fun. That's what I'm talking about here. I'm not going to go into a deep elaboration, but and there was one more thing. I didn't mention it in this video, but I actually watched live the Veterans Stadium demolishing when they demolished it in March 2004. Actually, my dad woke me up early on a Saturday to watch it. And basically, we got a tour of the stadium, and I was basically the tag-along. I was the tag-along kid going into third grade at the time. So we got to see it there. I remember we stopped at a restaurant afterwards, so I don't remember which one, but continuing. Some of these stories, I do have some early memories of attending games. Most of my memories came from my childhood. This might have been right around the time of the Falcons game. I think this was right around the time of the Falcons game. Right, the AFC Championship game that sent us to Super Bowl 39. Speaking of Super Bowl 39 from that season, you got McNabb, Westbrook, T.O. trio. This is a fake from 2004, a little fun biography in the back. I still keep that upstairs. I even have that in the background set to some of my YouTube videos. Right here. You must be happy with the way that Hawks-Knicks series is playing out. Odds are looking a lot more favorable for your prediction to come true. I got to give credit, CJ McCollum. He's stepping up so far, having himself a really good series. And if you're wondering what I think about the Sixers, I'll get to that in a second, more in depth. But I will say this, fam. Just missed opportunities. Ultimately, Boston's the better team. And ultimately, that played the difference. Now, to give the Sixers credit, they were more competitive than they were in game one. But ultimately, they still lost. And Boston still has the edge over them. But I'll say this, though. The surprise actually is LeBron James is actually playing good in this series. Not necessarily great, not as great as he was 2016, 17, or 18, blowing through the Eastern Conference with the Cavs, but he's been playing good in this series for the Lakers in AR-15 Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic's absence. And I'm sorry, Rios, if you stop by, but your young guys are not ready come playoff time yet. It just become more evident. And even if the Rockets, they have to win 4 straight games, period. It's single elimination for them at this point. And all it takes is one loss. Even if they somehow win 3 straight, take it to game 7, they could lose a game 7 or win 2 straight, take it to game 6. One loss, Lakers got that series won. And while it is possible a 3-0 comeback could happen, the odds of it are very unlikely. So that series is most likely over, not a matter of if, but when. This was one of 2 main youth athletic spots growing up. Right here, the Brigantine Rams football field. Lots of memories at this place. There right ahead, you got the score box that we had during the games, the bleachers where parents and other supportive family members sat. Greatest power forward. A lot of fun over at this place. And over here, you had one of the other baseball parks, basketball hoops, skateboard rink. Maybe second, maybe cream. A lot of fun over here. This is the area, one of 2 youth athletic spots when I was growing up. Got the basketball court, which I have many memories of being on throughout grade and even high school a little bit early on, freshman, sophomore year. Had a lot of fun over here. A lot of free shoot-arounds, 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, and if we even got up to 8 kids, 4-on-4 games. It was straight ahead. We had the soccer nets. I played here a few times in elementary school. A few fun memories. I have one fun memory of falling. I took a big stumble forward, fell down, and got right back up. All the coaches stopped and they were, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm okay." Popped right back up. And then straight ahead, this was where baseball and softball games were played. I didn't actually play myself, but I did show up a few times, support some friends. And back in elementary school, one time went to a friend's birthday party here, which my parents would bring me here on a few occasions on the weekends back in elementary school. The greenhouse higher up in the air. I didn't play actually on a team. I did play a few pickup baseball games or basically like street baseball, if that's even a thing. To me, baseball, when I did play, it was fun to play, but boring to watch. And I mean, more so fun to play in bits, like maybe like our own little mini version in gym class or like street baseball from time to time, but I never actually played on any of the school's baseball teams. So that's what I meant when I said I never played. That's what house I grew up in. It's a lot different now. It's got different owners. There's an added room to it, right, with that window tilted out that the new owners added to it. Remember that picture? And the white room was also an added part, but sure, I showed of me with the Eagles coat on. That grass right there is where it happened at. A lot of memories in this house between playing video games, watching football with my family, watching the Sixers with Allen Iverson. So many fun memories. Watching boxing with my dad on Saturday nights, HBO and Showtime. A lot of memories in this house, doing my homework there. And the crazy part is the school was just up the block. You see where that church is? Kind of all the way down, the white building, a little bit further up to the left was where my school was. So when I got to like 7th, 8th grade, I was old enough to walk, that being my elementary and middle school. Come springtime,
No
I'd be
shout to the
walking
school,
to and back from
unfortunately,
school.
but
But I can't help but to get a little
Right
bit
ar-
nostalgic and
right
appreciative.
around the 10-minute
looking at
mark,
this
I'll
house.
pause, maybe talk a little bit
No,
about the
yeah, even
draft.
though it's changed, the owners have changed, the design's changed, it's still the house I grew up in. I can't help but get the feeling of nostalgia and appreciation. This used to be where a great spot for me to walk with a dog or tag along when my dad was walking my dog. So one of my favorites, 2003. I remember Monday night. It was in December. The Eagles were playing the
Arku, this is the one you commented on yesterday.
Dolphins Monday night that season. It might have been week 15, I think it was. Family vacation around that time. We had a hotel by Miami Beach. We came in Saturday night, went up there. We had, which was the good thing about with me being in 3rd grade, they had a pool, so at least I could go in the pool and swim while. And parents sat at the bar because it was a Monday game. I remember Sunday sitting by the pool and watching football while I was just sitting in the pool. And I remember you had the Falcons playing the Colts in the afternoon with Peyton Manning and Michael Vick. Colts ended up blowing out the Falcons.
This was the same year Vick was on the cover of Madden, by the way. He missed most of the season and came back. They won like 3 of their final 4. But this was obviously not that game.
Remember, you had a Packers-Chargers game at 4 o'clock with Brett Favre and company versus LaDainian Tomlinson and Antonio Gates in the early years there. I think the Sunday night game was Giants and Saints, if I remember. And come Monday, we took a little.
Oh, yeah, that was a blowout game. That was when the Giants, Jim Fossil, Kerry Collins, that was the final year before they blew it up, brought in Coughlin, the infamous 04 draft and all that.
Walk on the beach. And I remember they actually had a bus for us Eagles fans. We went to the game. We had nice little seats. And that was the Monday night game. If you Eagles fans watch this, remember, it was the 38-24. Remember they went back and forth through majority of the game. Then it was like 7-7, 14-14. Eventually it was 24-24. Eagles scored to go 30, had 1-24, and then they scored the final touchdown. You guys remember, it was the opening play. McNabb hit this bomb to James Thrash to put him in Dolphins territory. Then they followed up with a quick touchdown. Remember when I...
Oh, and FYI, we had like a whole section and the plane ride up because we went from Philly's airport. We had a whole plane ride filled with Eagles fans doing the fight song, Fly Eagles Fly, on the plane ride to Florida, which was a lot of fun. And hell, we even had a few Eagles fans. Oh, man, that was so much fun. From that, and even on the bus on the way to the game, we were doing the Fly Eagles Fly. Lots of fun. And they got credit. I got to give credit, though. They really went above and beyond to make us feel welcome, even as the visitors, from the hotel bus transportation. It was a really fun experience. I don't know if anyone watching ever went to your favorite team's road game, but if you did, hopefully, if you ever do, hopefully it's even half the fun I described. Because if so, it'll definitely be worth the experience.
I was in high school one time. I got the nickname Nicky Steez from a classmate. He actually came up and coined the nickname. And it was something I ran with for a little bit. I remember this was during Freestyle Friday. Like, it was a big hip-hop trend. Sometimes we create our own little mini freestyles during lunch or in homeroom on Fridays. I mean, sometimes we'd be a little bit careful what we incorporate into the freestyles, but we did create them. And so I was looking for a name for it. And that's where one of my classmates came up with the name Nicky Steez. So we did that when I was in high school. Then after high school, when I started to get a little more serious about life, I dropped the Nicky Steez persona. Now that I was out of high school, Freestyle Friday was no longer a thing we were doing. But
I'm going to pause it there for a few minutes. So let's take a little break from it. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft a little bit. We're going to start with my team, the Eagles. Makai Lemon. That was a bit of a surprise, and I had a feeling they might try to go for a wide receiver at some point, but I wasn't expecting them to do it in the first round, especially when they brought all these guys in. You brought in 3 different receivers, and now all of a sudden they draft another. Well, obviously, if any Eagles fans were in denial about it before, it's obvious now. They're trading A.J. Brown. Even if you are an A.J. Brown fan, you like what he does on the field, it's obvious he's not sticking around because there's no way you bring in that many receivers for a guy that you plan on keeping. That's an obvious, not a matter of if, but when they trade him. All right, quick sip right here. Yeah. Can you guys see it? I'm trying to get, yeah, it's not that clear view, but it's lemons and limes. A little lemon juice mixed in. Oh, yeah, only fitting because we're talking about Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC. I mean, that's an interesting one. He's more of a slot guy, so we'll have to see how he pans out. I mean, there is the potential with the speed and to get some few open routes, but I don't know if he's going to have necessarily that same spark with Hurts throwing him the ball that AJ had, not necessarily in 2025, but in 22, 23, and even 24 when he was in the game. That's so to be interesting to see how he's going to fit in. I mean, he's kind of got, like, in terms of size, not the complete same skill set, but he's more of a Cole Beasley in terms of being a smaller receiver that you might be able to rely on to make some plays, but is he really going to be your top weapon? I'm thinking chances are they're going with Devon. Once they do make the trade, they're going with Smitty as their number 1 guy, and then lean toward Mekhi Lemon eventually being the number 2 weapon in the offense, the wide receiver wise, and then Goddard 3. But I was thinking they'd go more with an offensive lineman or an edge guy to help fill the void from Jalen Phillips and then Nakobe Dean going to other teams. And when you look at the first round, how the draft played out, a lot of the good offensive linemen that were top prospects all went off the board. So I get why ultimately they didn't do it. Because you had the guy from Penn State, we were hyped up. He went to the Ravens. You had the first offensive tackle off the board was Spencer Fano to the Browns, which makes sense. And then you got the Giants got Francis Magua from the Hurricanes, fresh off the trade with the Bengals. I think Caden Proctor to the Dolphins. Ione from Penn State to the Ravens. All those guys went already. So by the time we got, plus Monroe Freeling from Georgia, the guy you thought would be the projected favorite, went to the Panthers. Because you would have thought, Georgia guy, we're going to get him. Even James on Sunday Morning Show last week joked about, but we got a wide receiver instead, which I kind of get, but at the same time, I feel like if the Eagles, I feel like they should have traded up to try to get at least a tackle for the long term, because Lane Johnson's not going to be there forever. But ultimately, they just couldn't get there in time. I guess after 19, they panicked and they're like, oh, snap, we need somebody. Let's trade up. And that's just speculation. I don't necessarily know that for sure, but that was a possibility as to why they went receiver instead of tackle. Once they saw their tackles go, they're like, okay, we got to get a receiver. They traded up, man. So let's see what is up. Straight to the point. Sports ENT 78. One of my main supporters for the longest time, going back to 2022 when I first started doing live stop by. Shout out, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a great day. And we got Ryan Rose been in the comments ever since I first started stopping by. So, guys, thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And as far as Mekhi Lemon, there's talent there. There is the potential, but curious, how's this going to work out as a slot receiver in the system? It's something that we still got to wait and see. because, I mean, right now we don't know. They just drafted the guy. They still got to go through practices, training camp, preseason before and then once the season starts, we'll get some idea of how it's going to work, but I'm not sure. But they did go and get Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt as their number 2 tight end. So obviously the Eagles, with this new system, they're planning on using a lot of receivers and tight ends in the offense, which tells me they're sticking with the pass first approach that they did last year under Patullo. It's pretty obvious to me because you're putting that much investment between tight ends and wide receivers, between both the free agent and your first 2 picks in the draft. Look, obviously, you're going to plan on using a similar package, so we better be prepared. But if you're going to go with more of a pass-happy offense, you got to change the way you do it. I know I Am Carlo is a big Eagles fan. He usually releases videos around the draft and post-game recaps. And one of his recaps last year, he said, what the Eagles should do if they're going to use the pass game more with Hurts, do it what a Brady or Breeze does, where you start with shorter passes like screens, in and out routes. You do something simple or some short slant routes just to get momentum going. Slow down their defensive backs. Then when you slow them down, then you rely on the deep ball. But at the same time, when you saw the offensive line wasn't as strong last year as it was in 2024, you realize that's another reason they should have gotten an O-lineman. Part of me feels like they should have traded up, but at the same time, Howie gets the benefit of the doubt because he's been phenomenal since 2021, especially with the draft. So I can cut him some benefit of the doubt, even though it doesn't look great on paper, but we'll have to see. And then they ultimately did go and get Markel Bell from the Hurricanes as the offensive tackle, the 4th-round pick. So they at least addressed the line. Wasn't the top offensive line prospect us as Eagles fans hope for, but time will tell on that. Being a first-rounder alone does not mean anything in terms of player development. How many players, regardless of position, have we seen first round, just a name on the roster? A lot of them. So, we're not going to jump to conclusions yet. There's one more person, though, I do want to talk about. Jonathan Greenard, linebacker from the Vikings. The outside linebacker. The good news is he fills a void at a position of need, and he's still young. The good news. And we know from his 2023 season with the Texans and 24 season with the Vikings, he can get pressure and get to the quarterback. So it looks like they're using Greenard as, the replacement for Jalen Phillips, the guy that can storm the quarterback and get a heavy blitz. I mean, because he had 12.5 in 2023 sack-wise, had 12 in 2024, and then had 3 last season. So it was a bit of a downward year, but he only played 12 games last year too. But still, even then, that's a huge drop because 2023, he had in 15 games, 12.5, 12 in 17 games, and then only 12 games had 3 sacks, which is a bit questionable. Not to mention 2021, he had 8 sacks for the Texans during a dumpster fire season. So we got Nick in the chat. Happy National Steez Day. Yo, that's what I love it, man. I love it. Happy National Steez Day. That's what's up. It's but it did. I always kind of had that in my back pocket. I'm like, we'll come back. So I'll talk a little bit more about it later. So far, well, in Greenard, I think he's certainly a guy that can get pass rush. He can get the pressure on, and he can make plays and get sacks. No, certainly. But, and to be fair though, too, we're looking at it. He had only 8 sacks in 2021. He only played 8 games in 2022, had a sack and a half, but then came back in 2023, got 12.5. So, yeah, we know he can come back from a down season. Hopefully he'll do it again. So there's certainly some potential for this Jonathan Greenard to pan out, but ultimately time will tell. How is he going to fit in with Vic Fangio? But that's could be a good green flag too. Here's a guy coming into Fangio's system that was phenomenal last season. Even when the offense wasn't that great and we didn't score as many points, we weren't as proficient on offense as we were 2 seasons ago during the Super Bowl 59 run, but it can still happen. So, but we also got to see. So it's got potential, but and hopefully Vic Fangio can fit Greenard into his system and he can be the suitable replacement there for Jalen Phillips, but time will tell. But also, too, that's what I remember. We can be optimistic. We still got guys like Jahad Campbell who showed flashes his rookie year. You got them, and you still got Jordan Davis. As long as he stays in shape, he could still be an impact guy. You got Jalen Carter. As long as he stays on the field and he stays out of trouble making stupid decisions, such as spitting, nah. But we'll see, man. But, back to this video right here. And back to the video where I got the link to it right. Like, you know what? I'm not using that name, but if ever one day in my life, I remember sitting there when I decided, you know what? I'm going to drop the whole Nicky Steez thing. I'm no longer in high school. That's not going to apply anymore. And I remember sitting there. I was waiting on to pick up food at a local takeout place, and I always had a lot of time to think. So I was thinking about some of the new things. This is when I started working full time. So right, I was legally adult, old enough to work full time. So I started thinking about, all right, here's some of the changes I got to start making. And that was one of them that came to mind. But as I was thinking about it, I'm thinking in the back of my head, if I ever one day need a screen name for anything, I can always reuse that Nicky Steez name. All of a sudden around, it's now my YouTube name. So even though that classmate's now, I believe out in Texas last time I heard a few years back, going on to separate ventures, I'm forever grateful for him for coming up with that name. So I'll always feel internally some gratitude. And it all started. Then come around COVID time. It was all happening. Now we segue into how I became a YouTuber. I talked about this on Inside the Mind with Nicky Steez back in early June 2024 with Mitch. That's where it started, but it really mainly started in the fall as the weather was getting colder. Because during the spring and summer with COVID, at least when the weather was warm, I could go outside. Even on days during the summer where there really wasn't anywhere to go, I at least had time to just sit in my backyard, relax, enjoy. I had sunscreen by me, and that at least kept me outdoors during that time. Then as we got toward the fall, we still had a similar situation, and there was, going to the gym. But outside of that, there weren't as many days to step outside and take walks with the weather starting to get colder. So I'm like, all right, now I need to do a little more something that's indoors. And then that's when I started to go toward making YouTube videos. And I
know this. I've been a big supporter of you. So
started during COVID, because especially during that time period we were on lockdown, there was very limited stuff to do. It just dragged out throughout 2020. Finally, by the fall, all I really had was just working for a few hours at the job I was at the time, a handful of days, going to the gym, taking a walk. I needed something else in there in my life. So I started doing YouTube. At first, I just started trying to do blog videos, but then after, I remember really where it started, it was late 2020. I just decided to drop a rant after the Eagles lost to the Cowboys in week 16. It wasn't the best put together rant, but once I did it and I got over 100 views, I'm like, all right, I got something going here. YouTube, Nicky Steez back again. This one I'm going straight off the top of my head, no notes. So as of today, the Philadelphia Eagles are officially eliminated from the playoffs. They lost to the Dallas Cowboys 37-17, puts them at 4-10-1 for the play like a superstar for the first time in years. First time in a long time Andy Dalton looked like a superstar against that Eagles. And this was from the early days. I was trying to do it professionally, as in trying to emulate a professional announcer, but
without the experience of them.
Obviously, this part wasn't really the most intriguing part. But that's something that I've worked on in the years since. Once practiced by being in front of the camera, recording and found my own stick.
You had Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, for their total stats, averaged over 20 yards per reception. But then Andy Dalton was throwing. I'm going to share that video right now in case any of you guys want to see it for yourself. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. If you guys want to watch that for yourself. It did have 7 likes, so. And there's the link to that one right there if you guys want to check it out yourself. Long balls downfield. We had Gallup, Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. The Eagles could not stop the Cowboys from completing long passes. The combination of those three. Like I said, Ezekiel Elliott ran all over us for over 100 yards on 19 carries. And the defense looked absolutely terrible. You could see there I was a bit off. You could see obviously it's a bit awkward first time in front of the camera.
Ultimately, the Eagles' offensive line was struggling. That they were also dealing with injuries that year. And this was when you had a on the decline Brandon Brooks. Lane Johnson may have been injured. Kelsey may have been in and out of the lineup. This was pre-Landon Dickerson. So that was it. And I think those takes did help with the credibility of it. I remember the one day I remember the most, like the first like real fun day doing this was actually the week 17 game against Washington, because this was the last season we had 17-week schedule when we pulled Hurts for Sudfeld and tanked in Doug Peterson's final game. I remember it was on Philly Mike's podcast. Philly Mike at the time, I remember his slide.
Philly Talk podcast, also known as Philly Mike.
For it. I tuned into the chat. Someone created the perfect joke referring to Nate Sudfeld, who came into the game for Jalen Hurts, as Nate Tankfeld. A few weeks later, he was doing a call-in stream. This was my first time actually appearing on anybody's stream at all. I came on here just for a few minutes. He gave me my thoughts on the Eagles, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation. This was before the trade. I started tuning in more to other Philly content creators' chats, trying to get my name out there, eventually try to get more people to notice. And it did to some degree work. That was around the time, for me, luckily, Desert Eagle 90 was a long-time Eagles content creator.
Oh, yeah, and shout out to D90. He's been around since 2016, or possibly even before. This was long before I even created my own channel. I was following him for the longest.
He's been around since 2016-ish. That's when I first followed him, and this was long before I created any YouTube videos. And I remember he was sharing some up-and-coming Eagles content creators' channels to try to get people. And he actually shared my channel, which at the time as a beginner, that was a big deal. That was like my first I made it moment as far as YouTube goes. A guy who I'd been a fan of for a while recommending my channel as a beginner, that was a huge honor. That's like the 15th. Then we traded up draft night to the 10th.
I'm skipping ahead a little bit to one of my early highlights. This one I'm about to share was from March 2021, right after we initially traded back. Remember, we traded back as a 3-team trade with the Dolphins and 49ers, and at the time, a lot of us Eagles fans did not give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt because up to that point, Howie hadn't proven himself. So I'm going to show you a little clip from that and then my reaction to that video.
Because when it happened, it was March 26, 2021. It happened. And I titled it, Eagles trade number 6 pick, hashtag fire Howie Roseman. And I got 7 likes off of it because at the time, we as Eagles fans were like, nah, we did not give him the benefit of the doubt. Look at the comment section.
Let's see, scroll up. Still doesn't really show it. It was from EC1, Ryan Rowe, I Drip 22. They agree with my stance at the time. Now let's get into the actual video itself.
So, and this was one of my most commented videos at the time. I got some time before work. Is there anything going on in football world? Free agency? Let me take a look. Let's see. Okay. All right, Eagles, what did they do? What the? Seriously, what the did we just do? You could tell at the time I did not give him the benefit of the doubt. That was one of my other early videos I remember for the interaction. But this is at the time, really, it was just videos, try to get it out there, get the most views possible. And some of those videos personally were fun to record, but in the long haul, it wasn't best. I'm glad that the one good thing about YouTube is they came up with the YouTube Shorts feature, because those YouTube videos weren't really great. And with the algorithm and YouTube favoring like the big name channels run by companies with a lot of money in sports, politics, business, stock market trading tips, any type of, pretty much anything. You know, like IGN with their movies, you know, anything. It's a problem because it's hard to get your videos out there when you got all these corporate companies with their channels, like the NFL, NBA, for sports, you know. Their videos are going to get the most views because they have the most followers, and the algorithm's going to push it out there. It was really just a lot of experimenting throughout my channel. A lot of experimenting with recording videos in different sceneries, trying to record videos as soon as it happened when it came to the Eagles and some of the Sixers as well. Because that was also that 2021 season with the Sixers where we got the number 1 seed. We lost to the Hawks in the second round. I remember.
We got less than a minute on this one. Then after that, I'm going to step aside for a quick second.
Remember, I dropped the hammer in a rant on Ben Simmons afterwards. I dropped the hammer on him.
We all did.
That was what my first year was. Just experimenting on the Eagles Sixers related content, getting myself out there, getting recognized. The main ones I was recognized early on were Keep the Building, Mitch, as far as YouTube content creators go. Sometimes I come in, support either through the chat or sometimes on the live call shows. Chalk It Up Sports, aka Tony Field, Philly Talk Podcast, aka Philly Mike, and that was the early group.
So that's part 1. There is a part 2 to that as well. That's set to premiere in about 14 minutes, but as I said, I'll step aside real quick, be right back.
All right, I'm back, folks. I am back. Oh, we got Mac the Giant. What's up? Thank you. Remember Mac the Giants fan? We did some collabs, especially in the early pick'ems days during the NFL season, like 2022 and even 2024. Yeah, but speaking of YouTube, in a few more minutes, part 2 to my little series I created will officially premiere in about 3 minutes. This was part 1 that I just finished sharing with you guys and reacting to. I'm going to do part 2 in a few minutes. Now, part 2 is going to be more along the lines of me talk about YouTube. It's not going to be, because part 1 was the introduction. I'll talk about some of my streams, some of the memorable moments, which again, I got to give a huge shout out to Mitch. He gave me the green light to share. But before I get into that, I do want to say from the YouTube side of it, some shout outs I didn't get to. Keen in the Building was one. He's been around for a while. I did mention Chalk It Up, Tone to Shields, Philly Mike, D90 sharing one of my vids. Like I said, I gave straight to the point of shout out. He stopped by in the chat. Ryan, Nick, and those guys. Got to give them a shout out. And some of the other guys like Halftime, Coach Ed, Rios, and them, I'll be talking about that more in part 2, which I'm going to be just a few minutes away. It's 12:58. It's set to premiere in 2 minutes. So I'll share the screen with you guys there. And as far as the NFL draft goes, I'm going to stand in. I always say this, I stand in the minority of saying it's always too early to tell with the draft right away, to crown winners and losers of the first round the next day before the draft's even complete. Because how can you crown winners when A, they haven't even completed the full draft yet? Because like I know yesterday morning, everyone's like, okay, this team won. Well, wait, we gotta wait and see what the teams do the rest of the draft. It's way too early to come on here Friday morning and crown winners after the first round, because what are they going to do with the rest of their picks? You could draft a high prospect quarterback, but miss out on the rest of your picks. Not really a winning draft now, is it? And secondly, we don't truly know who wins and loses the draft until a few years down the line. Consider this a mini preview of my rant of the week on the upcoming episode of the 3-Point Blitz. So I'll leave it at that. It's like letting people try a small appetizer before it officially starts. So it should be another minute or two. This part journey of the Steez persona part 2 should be okay. Part 2 should be dropping in just a few minutes. So I'm going to share the screen with you guys there, but yeah, but as I'm waiting though, just quick sips. Yeah, if anyone's wondering, representing Dr. J here with this number 6 jersey. I got it's a Philly thing t-shirt underneath, so we're gearing up all Eagles and Sixers for this one, man. We'll give it a few more seconds before. Let's see if that video comes up. I'm still waiting on part. Hold on a second. I think I know why it's not coming up. Quick fix, guys. Quick fix. Oh yeah, I still didn't I didn't make it public yet. That's why. So I got to make that vid. I'm going to share it with you guys public. Then we'll share it. Wait, it should be all right. It should be coming up then, right? It's not on a schedule, so wait a minute. Oh, here we go. All right, so let's continue the part 2. And this one is the continuation of part 1 that I just shared. So part 2, here we go. And I'm gonna end up doing some YouTube short. I'm gonna take how we did there, turn it into some YouTube shorts, so you guys can see the highlights from this. But yeah, let's see. Is there anything else going on? Let's see. NBA. Let's see what this playoff schedule is for today. Oh, yeah. Pistons and Magic probably just started now. Series is tied at 1 apiece. You got Thunder and Suns around 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Hawks Knicks game 4 around 6. And then T-Wolves Nuggets later tonight. So there we go. That's the schedule right now. But yeah, without any further ado, let's get into this. Becoming Nicky Steez, the journey behind the Steez persona, part 2. 2022, though, with YouTube was the year everything began to change. Everything began to elevate. I started to do more live streams, and then from there, slowly but surely, the first couple months went slowly but surely, but then as I got to the second half of the year, that's when I really started to get involved, and everything started to grow. I started to do more streams, started working with more YouTubers, doing a lot more collabs. All of a sudden, like late January that year, I remember you had a Lakers-Sixers game in Philly. I decided to go live for a stream. I just decided, you know what? Screw it. I had it all set up. I didn't have StreamYard yet at the time. I still went live through the YouTube website itself. I went on and did it the old-fashioned way before StreamYard, or I just went to go live, set up the stream that way, and then doing it that way, boom, all of a sudden I set it up, Sixers versus Lakers live play-by-play. And the first one, I did it in a different scenery, because I didn't have all the tech of StreamYard yet, but I just stood there in front of the TV, reacted to the game, and the breakdown. I just was going play-by-play. Calling it. I noticed quickly from there for that versus my first test of a stream for a Cowboys-Washington game late in the 2021 regular season, the difference was clear. I clearly knew that basketball I could do better with play-by-play. And for that period of time, 2022, 2023, I did quite a handful of live streams for NBA games, this Lakers one being the first. All of a sudden, flash forward a little bit later, I did a Sixers-Pacers, a Sixers-Suns, and then by the end of 2022, I had several live ones. I was even going by early regular season for the 22-23 regular season. I was going live for them. It was the start of the real turning point. And for me, it was fun because I always talked about being a kid. Hey, what do you want to do one day? Said, hey, I want to be a sportscaster. And early on, my earliest announcing experience was announcing alongside the two, along like NFL 2K5, Madden, NBA Live. I would talk over the announcers while playing the game and commentate on the game action. And that was where I got some of my first experience broadcasting as a kid. Then all of a sudden, years later, early 2022, on YouTube, Grant, but I had the chance to do it. And that's what made it a whole lot of fun. Here I am finally out there calling games like I said I was going to do. It was just it was that fun experience. It was like the dream come true. And then, but that was just the beginning of it, really, Because then a few months later, all of a sudden, I started doing NFL free agency stream, and I still ended up going on there. Ended up talking about a lot of the big moves that were made. And I divide into chapters, talking about players such as Miles Jack, Jason Kelsey, Randy Gregory, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, Mitchell Trubisky, Teddy Bridgewater. Even though those guys were backups, you had a lot of the moves, big follows. And that was the first week, too. And speaking of straight to the point, Sports TNT, here he was. He was in the chat. That turned into a two-way through the chat, that one. I got to give him a shout. I'm going to give him a shout on that one. He really came through. And now we skip ahead. This is where the fun really begins. This is something to do more frequently. And that point on, I was sold on it. So throughout first couple months of the year, some 76ers play-by-play, NFL free agency talk. I did an appearance on Mitch's old show, MK Headlines, and that was a whole lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself doing it. And then it was around the summertime. I started to go live more frequently. Talk about the NBA draft. I talked about free agency that year because I remember very well, there's a lot of hype going into that free agency. They were talking about Kyrie. This was the 2022 where they were talking, LeBron and Kyrie are going to reunite, and that's obviously a Photoshop photo, or AI generated, one of the two, which is the closest we'll ever get to seeing that. Actually going to skip ahead a little bit for you guys. Now we get to the fall 2022 when it all came to be. MK Headlines was still running. He was doing this late September, early October 2022. I had appeared on MK Headlines again with a few of the other Eagles fans further next shift. And then this video, early October, I am Nicky Steez, Philadelphia Eagles and Philadelphia 76ers content creator on YouTube. And I am officially the newest member of the Hardcore Sports Network. Shout out to the head of the Hardcore Sports Network, Mitch Koski, for welcoming me to the Hardcore Sports Network family, as well as AM, Randy, Philly Halftime, and the rest of the Hardcore Sports Network. And I look forward to doing more collabs with you guys in the future. Then all of a sudden, there it was. You had a whole new group of Eagles content creators joining in. Philly Halftime, who's still active nowadays, doing Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Eagles. Oh, shout out to Philly Halftime. Him and Mitch did the Saturday Wake Up Show earlier. They talked about the draft a little bit, talked about the Sixers and Celtics series. Which, hey, it's what we expected the Sixers to lose that series. I'm not really surprised that Boston has a 2-1 lead in the series. But speaking of the playoffs, we just started Pistons Magic early in the first. Pistons up 6-4. Series tied at 1 game apiece, in which was also a rematch from the 2003 opening round 1 versus 8 series. Exact same seed. Pistons 1, Magic 8. Play-by-plays has a show on the weekend on the network. A couple shows. First, Saturday Wake Up with him and Mitch, and then later in the day, him and Coach Ed Gladney, who joined the network in around mid to early 2023. Fans as well, fans of different teams that joined the network. Takes, and he provides great analysis. And here's where we get to the podcast I joined. On Wednesday, Mitch got this show going called the Pick and Roll Podcast. We talked about basketball right about the start of the 2022-23 season. He had done 2 episodes with him and NYG Jeffy T85. And 2 Wednesdays were the perfect day when I was off for me at the time, for me to do a lot, to focus on YouTube, occupy my time, keep me out of trouble, let me talk about sports. And here's the link to that video. Then, right around this time, we had Pick'ems on Wednesday. Back at the time, it was a full crew of fans. Good Big Moose Tymus, Washington fan. Further AM, Next Shift Randy, and then all of a sudden, I got the invite to join. And then, episode 3 happened.
And
I think so too.
I'm here with my co-host from last night for the Sixers versus Kings live play-by-play, Nicky, Steez. And we're also live on his channel. We're
Hello,
live
everyone.
on Next Shift Randy's, and I'm pretty sure he will pop in a bit. We're live on NYT 85, my channel, and the Hardcore Sports Channel. So, how are you guys doing? I think you heard what was going on today, Nicky. Did you hear about Sixers news?
No. What was it again?
We'll talk about it later on.
People forget how good Hakeem Olajuwon really was.
And that was how it all started. And then from there, which is every Wednesday, I was on from that point.
They weren't able to achieve these stats a lot easier compared to what LeBron James had to do in the 2000s, 2010s. God forbid these players don't step up.
He couldn't find gloves big enough to fit his hands. He couldn't find gloves big enough up here in Canada to fit his hands because it was so cold. He hated it.
A lot of fun with that. We talked about the week's hot news. We did countdowns, all-time tier rankers, brain games. And then as time went along, me, Jeff, Randy, Mitch, all of a sudden we started to get more people coming on. And we had further for a bit there during like the late teens into the 20s episodes when he was. And let's not forget how further AM. Oh, he was an interesting character. But unfortunately, I guess it didn't end well, so we just parted ways with the network and we just moved on. But yeah, he was with us for a while. He brought some flair to the stream. No, he was. Oh man, I still remember he was calling Allen Iverson Alvin Iverson. Also, he was mainly known for football, but he was also coming in for pick and roll podcast, which added he had more of a fun element, kind of a low key trollish element, but it was fun.
Okay.
Nuggets could be the other team.
And then watch halftime and be like, Sixers are going all the way.
Oh, he already has.
And there was, and that was early on that first year and a half ago. We just spent all those episodes as we got closer to 2023. And, me, Mitch, Randy, Jeff, and those guys, we had something going. Unfortunately, in May, tragedy struck us with the Pick and Roll podcast crew. As we lost Jeff, NYG Jeffy T85, during his sleep from food poisoning on Memorial Day. And then we decided next couple episodes it was basically going to be a tribute to him. And it was around that time we got the addition of Coach Ed Gladney to it, dynamic to the podcast. He was an experienced former sports coach and someone who's experienced in terms of the game. He added a more mature, more experienced, smarter demeanor to it. And that really came in handy in episode 30. Episode 30 was during the summer, right around the summer of 2023. Nuggets had won the finals, and then we were getting ready to get going. And also, too, not only did Coach Blaze with radio was added to the show as well, but it had a more serious demeanor, which is actually what Jeff wanted. Jeff wanted that more serious demeanor to the podcast, that more serious tone, having open, realistic discussions. And by bringing in Coach and Blaze more knowledgeable on important subjects, that really helped cement Jeff's vision in his honor. It was fitting that Coach and Blaze joined to really do that to honor him shortly after his passing. And that's been something that's continued on the Pick and Roll podcast. The host Just Fans podcast he joined later continued to do.
Just to live, it's gone. You have to drop it in the boot. What if those superstars don't mix?
Phoenix right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing is we're talking about Zion, so exactly, you're hitting it right on. Look, I love Zion, he just coming out and doing kid, but we all said the same thing, the way they do. I'm a big dude, I understand, powerful load was weight and the velocity that was not controlled. We're jumping up and down, and what is it going to do?
Try not to give up on him and John. They're young. I keep on saying, you said it, Coach. He's a kid. They're young. I mean, they're making mistakes right now. I mean, and Nyla's in shape. From that moment on, that was setting the tone of this is Jeff's version of the pick. This is what Jeff wanted. So this is going to be a tribute. Now with Coach Ed and Blaze, they brought a nice element to it. Blaze, as time went along, Blaze became more involved. He was always that outsider, that different thing, that didn't want to automatically look at something from a negative perspective. And as we went along into like the 50s and the 60s, Randy got an awesome song going for us. Oh yeah, I removed myself from the studio for that part out of respect for Jeffy. Let the video do the talking. So rest in peace, NYG Jeffy T85. Certainly had a lot of fun doing the pick and roll with you. Miss you, man. Hope you're enjoying yourself up in sports heaven, man.
So best friends got each other's back. We used to cruise around with a bass to the max. Everyone in school while I was in the lab, cooking up some beats that would turn into tracks. High school chillin', I was on a mission. I had bigger dreams of being a musician.
Yeah, I had a phenomenal run with that show. With that crew of guys. NYG Jeffy T85, rest in peace. You played a key role in helping get that going. Mitch. Then, of course, Blazed. Here, as you see, for the 3-point blitz. And sure enough, a few weeks, the first episode happened. March 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day on a Sunday. We went and did the first episode. What we're going to do is, because this is NFL free agency, we're going to talk about that first. Then we're going to talk about the big NBA stories. So we decided, all right, we're going to do football, basketball related, and then all of a sudden, we decided to kick it off. Each episode can start off with the rant of the week, where I'd find something to talk about, rant about. This idea came from those last couple episodes of the Pick and Roll podcast. I decided, you know what, why not incorporate it in my own show? And as time goes on throughout the 3-point blitz, it varies from episode to episode. But it was awesome to get that going on. Initially, first I did it on a Sunday. Then after that, a couple episodes, I started switching over toward Mondays. And finally, I decided officially, all right, we'll do Tuesdays. And now, officially, that's what we do with the 3-point blitz. Every Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And here we go. I'm moving all the way. Now I'm all the way at episode 53 is the time recording this. It's been a lot of fun. You get to come on here, have different material to talk about every week. Go to my channel on the Hardcore Sports Network and have a blast. And another thing I've really picked up on now, Tuesday's my main day now. We had
Wesley.
NFL Pick'ems that initially started back when I joined the network as a big group gathering, turned into a 2-man show with me and Agent Warrior X, a new YouTuber. And they are fitting an Eagles and Giants fan collab. After all, my parents consist of a set of an Eagles and Giants fan, so it's only fitting I do myself a show collaborating with a Giants fan talking sports. It started with NFL Pick'ems, making our picks, recap, trying to fit in with. And everything on the table has been phenomenal. Just being able to do that, and it's been a great ride between YouTube live streams, pre and post game, doing some play-by-play, getting to live out the dream. Hey, it's kept me out of trouble and it's feed me personal void. If there's one lesson I can take from my experience doing my YouTube channel is this. Do what you can to make yourself happy. Don't necessarily worry about trying to be the most popular person in the world, trying to fit in with others. Sure, sometimes going out, partying from time to time might be fun, but in the long term, that can be trouble. If you can find a hobby that you enjoy, for me, talking about sports, for others, whatever it may be, painting for some maybe for some, it might be having their own little podcast about fashion. For others, it might be podcasts about movies, might be movie reviews, movie reactions, whatever it is. If you find something that you enjoy, run with it. For me, I enjoyed coming on here talking about sports. It's been a lot of fun getting to share my thoughts on something I enjoy that I don't always get the opportunity to come on in here, share my thoughts on sports, give you my takes, get to react to all the big moves going on for the Eagles and the Sixers in a positive or negative way. I enjoy doing that. And I'm pretty sure, and I know I brought joy to other people's days doing it. I got my loyal fans that enjoy it. So I know not only am I coming on here to talk about something I enjoy, I'm providing joy to other people by talking about the shared interest that we have. These are people that I haven't met in person that live in different places, but just knowing that in some way I can possibly impact someone's life talking about sports by keeping them entertained, and knowing that it's cool getting to talk with people that I agree with that otherwise I wouldn't have had the opportunity to. And that's been the fun part about YouTube. I don't care what anyone says. The old school idea that the internet's fake, we had to go out in person back in our day. I don't really care for all that. Because you can either be the person with the senile point of view, or you can look for the positive in everything. For me, I look for the positive in things. I've enjoyed chatting with Blaze, Mitch, Randy, Further, Coach Ed Gladney, NYG Jeffy T85, Rio's Just Fans Podcast. So many others. Cool Cat Connor, Philly Halftime. There's so many people I can name. All the thing we have in common is we share an interest in sports, get to chat with people, get to key in the building, chalk it up sports, EC1 football, D90. Where you hiding? Philly Notion. I don't know if he's still around or not, but I know he was around in the early 2020s. Man, there's a lot of people. I don't even know if the Philly Fuego. Oh, man. A lot of people. I don't know if they still got a channel or not, but they've been around. Joey Shake 72. Oh, my gosh. Especially for Eagles. So many out there. LB, Simone. You got a whole crew out there. Said Further, even Randy, Eagles fan from north of the border, a.k.a. Canada. Man, there's a lot, man. Who else? Philly Halftime, chalk it up. Real Talk with MJ, more of a Sixers fan. Philly Take with RB, a lot. They hear different perspectives. Get to sometimes discuss my perspective. You also had the Sunday morning show I did. Talk about football, especially during football season. Me, Bo, Football Talk with Bo, Seattle Seahawks fan. Very insightful, very professional, and knowledgeable at football. I enjoy getting to hear his perspective. Which is something I wouldn't have had otherwise. It's just been a phenomenal ride, too. That Sunday morning show with, like I said, Bo, James from the Steel by the Lake podcast, Vin C, Dolphins fan. It's been so much fun. So I encourage everyone, whatever you do, make the most of your life, find something that you enjoy, and just run with it. It's not about necessarily trying to necessarily be accepted by others and what they think. Because if you do what you enjoy, you'll find a lot stronger connections with people who shared interests than you will trying to please people who don't share the same perspective as you. So that's my message right there. I've enjoyed this run. I plan on keeping this run going as long as I can. And it was fun to come on here, reflect back on the journey of how I got here, reflect on the sports fan side and the sports content side for a little bit. So it's been a hell of a ride. Hope you guys enjoyed this little mini docu-series style video I did. And I'll be dropping more content, so don't worry, Steez fans. Stay tuned. There will certainly be more to come. And that's that right there. So I decided to do it with, it'd be a fun experiment to do. I'll probably end up doing a few probably end up dropping some YouTube shorts from that series. But before I go, let's see. I'm going to give you guys a live update on what's going on. You got Pistons Magic tied at 18 in the later stages of the first quarter. Let's see. So far, you got Jalen Doran's got 4, Ozzie Thompson, Cunningham 5, Duncan Robinson has 3 points. It was a point in a free throw, so a 3-point counted in one. For the Magic, Boncaro's got 4 points. 2 of those were free throws. 1 was a basket. Wagner's got 2. Wendell Carter Jr. 4. And Desmond Bane has 8. And I looked, they just made a free throw. Yeah, but that I'm going to say, Mitch pointed it out, and what we're seeing so far, it looks like Desmond Bane is actually the best player on that Orlando Magic team. But was he really worth giving up 4 picks for? I don't know about that. But to be fair, Desmond Bane has been good, and now it's 20-18. But still early in the quarter. And I got to say, that's actually a pretty underrated series thus far, Pistons and Magic. Both teams match up pretty well, and Magic have actually taken the fight to the Pistons. They beat them game 1. Game 2 was competitive, and so far they're up in game 3. So got to give a shout out to the Orlando Magic for taking care of business against the Pistons. So that I was curious how that plays out. That should be a fun game. I wanted to see, is there anyone going live for it right now? Maybe I could do them a solid and redirect to their stream. Let me see. Oh, we do have a live coverage of day 3 of the NFL draft right now. I'm going to share the link with you guys right there. So we got a live on the network. We got an NFL draft day 3. Day 3 watch along. So you guys want to check that, go ahead, check that out there. But really, that's all I got for you guys, man. It was fun coming on here, talking a little bit about my birthday, about what's going on, sharing the little video docu-series I got with you guys. Hopefully you guys can check it out. I'll probably clip some shorts from that. I'll be sharing them. And I'll be sharing them on my IG. So I'm gonna share the link to my IG if anyone doesn't got it yet. All right, give me one sec. So I will share that with you guys. But hey, guys, thanks for stopping by for my little birthday bash right here. I decided, why not have a little fun? Come on here, reflect on the journey, drink a little bit of water. Then later tonight, man, we got a big game later. We got between the game 4 between the Hawks and Knicks. That will be a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to share my Instagram with you guys. So if you guys, because I do sometimes put some stuff on there, so I'll probably clip some YouTube shorts there. So there's the Nicky Steez Instagram, where I do dedicate specifically to my YouTube. But hey, man, Saturday, it's in April. We got a lot going on. We got the NFL Draft Day 3. It'll be going on throughout the day. You got NBA playoff action. Currently, we got the Magic and Pistons live in a back and forth game. We're going to have the Thunder and Suns later. Then we also going to have the Knicks and Hawks. And then to close it out west, we got the Nuggets T-Wolves game 4. Man, they got a lot going on. And these are the pivotal games where we could potentially be a little bit closer to the ends of the first round series. What is up, agent? What is up? Thanks for stopping by, indeed. That's Agent Warrior X, my co-host from Everything on the Table that we do every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thanks for stopping by, man. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed me coming on here, reflecting on my YouTube experience, talking a little bit about the Eagles draft, giving my thoughts there. I'll give more thoughts on the NFL draft as a whole and the NBA playoff action come Tuesday on the 3-point blitz. Probably be going at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as opposed to 12, maybe because there is an obligation, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated for sure. But with that being said, man, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Really enjoyed this. Now it's just time for me to relax and unwind a little bit. Okay, so with that being said, your boy Nicky Steez signing off. Ready to chill, enjoy my birthday, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.